Voidwastes is the newest T2 dungeon in Throne of Liberty. It has less mechanics than the Isle of Terror, but it requires quick group coordination and on-the-fly decision making. Before the fight begins, make sure to mark each of the horns at the edge of the arena with party markers. You'll be calling which horns glow yellow during the Tetris phase to ensure folks are reorganizing themselves correctly, and the person with the yellow orb is starting off at the correct horn. Also, make sure to create pairs of 2 before the fight. At the start, spread each person in the party out in front of a horn before the tank engages the boss, and whichever the 3 horns light up, each pre-made pair should claim one of the glowing purple horns for the fight. Placing a purple marker at your horn when the fight starts can be helpful to remind you which area you should run back to after the Tetris phase, but it's not necessary. When the tank starts the fight, the boss will use a diamond block attack. If your pillar glows purple, remain in front of it and only roll dodge forward or backwards. If your pillar did not glow purple, begin moving towards your partner and make sure to not miss the roll block. If you miss it, you will be stunned. The purple ray beaming from the glowing horns provides stacks on the player it is hitting. If the beam touches the boss, they will also provide the same stacks on the boss. If a player reaches 30 of these stacks, they will explode and get one shot. And if the boss reaches 30 of these stacks, it will kill everyone in one shot. You have to manage your stacks carefully during the entire fight. Usually the player closest to the horns accumulates 20 to 25 stacks before moving out of the way of the purple beam for their partner in the front to take over. Each pair will repeat this process of accumulating stacks, making sure to avoid hitting 30 stacks throughout the whole fight. It is okay if the boss accumulates up to 10 stacks, but try not to go above this, especially not 15, or everyone will die during the yellow eyes phase, which I'll explain later. After a normal block or a circle block, the boss will choose 2 people at random to spawn a yellow puddle under. Make sure not to be stacked on top of another player to avoid spawning the puddle under them. The boss will also choose between the 2 furthest people for the red orb mechanic. For this mechanic, the 2 furthest players must pay attention to the area above their head for a red orb that will spawn, indicating for them to move to an empty area at the edge of the arena to spawn a red vortex. These are the safe areas to place the red vortex. Once the player with the red orbs moves to these areas and it disappears from above their head, immediately run back to your position at your beam. Make sure not to spawn the red vortex too close to your allies or you may cause a wipe. Pay attention to how big the vortex is here, just so you have an idea of where to spawn the vortex during your runs. Once the boss does a second yellow pool mechanic, it will transition into Tetris phase. During this phase, all players need to run to the edges of the arena and spread out evenly as you see here. You must all work together to quickly identify the 3 horns glowing yellow, and the person with the yellow orb above their head must hug the boss and position themselves in front of one of the furthest yellow horns, never the middle one. Those with the purple circles around them must make sure not to hit another player with them as they will fear them. Move slowly as you reposition at the edges of the arena and angle your camera upwards to ensure you don't accidentally walk into the glowing yellow patches on the ground, which will stun you. In my group, we run lots of bows, so luckily we can use Purifying Touch to cleanse each other if someone gets stunned. Once the boss stretches and glows yellow, it will lock itself in place and the person with the yellow orb must walk around the boss to guide the yellow breath to hit each of the 3 pillars. Each pillar miss will deal extra damage to players in the arena, so it's also important for the healer to top up party members' health bars before this mechanic. Make sure to also not stand in front of a yellow horn if you have a purple circle. Healers and tanks though have it easier during Tetris phase because they can survive the yellow breath the boss spits out. You can see it demonstrated in the following clip how I'm able to apply Blessed Barrier to myself to significantly reduce the damage of breath and then use heals as needed to keep myself alive. A good healer can do this for other party members if they're able to react quick enough to someone caught in breath or accidentally stunned during this phase. Another thing that you and your party members must do is constantly DPS the boss during Tetris phase as well. One thing I've yet to mention is the stacks you obtain from the purple beams actually increase your damage output. So if you open up your P menu, you can see that your max damage is increasing as you obtain more and more stacks. Just be careful not to reach the 30 stack mark, which would kill you. This is the yellow eyes mechanic. When the boss does this mechanic, all players should gather closer to the boss, and the healer should cast Clay Salvation to top off party members' health. The more stacks the boss has, the more damage it will deal once the yellow eyes crash to the ground. It's important not to exceed over 10 to 15 stacks, or your party will die if they don't have enough health to outlive the damage from the yellow eyes. For example, 15 stacks is enough to one-shot someone with 9,500 max health. Since I use a bow, I take the Blitz ability to cast Clay Salvation right before the damage, and then again after the eyes drop to ensure that my party has high health during the next Tetris phase. Use Fountain of Life as well to help restore the health of party members before and after the damage is dealt during this mechanic. Move over some. When the boss reaches 35% health, all Tetris phases will happen twice back to back, and the boss will start to choose two people always for the red orb mechanic. Careful coordination and remaining calm is important at this point onwards to ensure a clear.
It's me.
Use guardians at 35% health to also ensure you only have to deal with one double Tetris phase rather than doing it twice. If you lack DPS, completing two double Tetris phases will be unavoidable. Make sure if you're chosen by the yellow orb for the double Tetris phase that after you are done guiding the boss's breath to hit the yellow horns, you are immediately running to the edge of the arena to allow the next person chosen by the yellow orb to run into the center of the arena and hug the boss to complete the same thing. In these clips, I demonstrate how you can be a reliable asset to your party during this fight. Make sure you're keeping your party members' health bars at full during the fight, and you are saving them when needed during each of the many phases during this fight. I hope this video helps, and thanks for watching. Feel free to ask any questions that you'd like in the comment section below.